Hello and welcome to Cage View Sports. If you like boxing and MMA breakdowns, you've come to the right spot. We have a great night of fights this weekend at UFC 303. And in this video, I would like to shed a light on the main and co-main event. So without further ado, let's get into these fights. Starting off with the main event, Dustin Poirier versus Islam Makhachev. I'll start off by highlighting how I think Dustin Poirier can win. In this fight, Dustin Poirier needs to utilize switch combinations. This gave Islam a hard time in his fight against Volkanovski in the first round. He was getting caught by the stepping in counters, and then he would step over into another combination from orthodox into southpaw. And I think that would give Islam Makhachev a difficult time in this fight. Also, I think he needs to meet Islam Makhachev in the center of the cage. He cannot afford to get cornered against the cage against Makhachev. Also, Dustin Poirier needs to not drop guillotine. He has in his fights always dropped guillotine, and surprisingly, throughout his entire MMA career, he has not won a fight by guillotine. I also think in keeping the fight in the center of the cage, he will force more exchanges in the pocket, which Dustin Poirier is one of the best fighters in UFC history in the pocket. And he has great vision and is very good at putting together combinations. And when he rocks his opponents, he has some of the best killer instinct in all of mixed martial arts and just finishing sequences after rocking his opponents. Also, this goes for both fighters. I think this fight is going to kind of divulge into a leg kicking battle. Both Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier are southpaws, and there isn't an abundance of southpaws at the top of the lightweight division. But in the few fights that we've seen with Dustin Poirier versus Jim Miller and Conor McGregor, they really turned into back and forth leg kicking battles. And also in the beginning of the Benoit Saint Denis fight, they were exchanging outside leg kicks. And I think that's going to be a big factor in this fight. And with that, segueing into Islam Makhachev, I think he needs to utilize forward pressure. He needs to push Poirier to the cage. And when he does so, utilize grappling, get behind Poirier, and kind of take a page out of Khabib's book, which was getting the back, getting the tight waist, and the body lock, and really working a lot of chain wrestling sequences from there, from the back trips to the dropping down for the doubles. And when he gets Poirier down, doing the typical Dagestani figure fouring of the legs to really sap some of that cardio of Poirier. And also, I think that Islam needs to look for high kicks off of the low kicks and behind his straight right or straight left, as Poirier was caught by a high kick by Justin Gaethje not too long ago and knocked out by that. And I think Islam can utilize something similar by disguising the high kick behind strikes, and especially behind the two high kick, which Poirier tends to parry straights as well. And that could leave him open for the high kick. I also think that Islam Makhachev needs to utilize front kicks to the body, as Poirier struggled with this against Charles Oliveira. And also one thing that Islam Makhachev is very good at that he needs to use in this fight is baiting the guillotine with his upper body. Oftentimes, Islam Makhachev will shoot head outside doubles and singles, leaving the illusion that the guillotine is there. And when his opponents jump on the guillotine on their way to the ground, onto the ground, Islam Makhachev does a good job of getting into half guard or side control and nullifying the guillotine. And I think that will work very well against Dustin Poirier. And moving on to the co-main event, Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. For Sean Strickland, I feel like he kind of needs to fight this fight like how he normally approaches most fights, by utilizing the jab The jab gave Paulo Costa a hard time against Marvin Vettori. And also, I think he needs to time front kicks to the body and right straights to counter the left hook of Paulo Costa. When Paulo Costa does his left hook, he will flare out his shoulder. And I think that's a good tell. And Paulo or Sean Strickland can use that to land the lead front kick to the body to really stifle a lot of the forward pressure of Costa and cause resets where Costa has to kind of step back and reset before engaging again. And he can also look for the straight, which he used against Israel Adesanya, as Israel Adesanya likes to fade back and land those check hooks as well. The difference is Paulo Costa kind of uses his check hook moving back, but he'll also throw hooks moving forward as a way to engage. Also, Sean Strickland needs to utilize his forward pressure. This fight is 5 rounds, and he has more experience going 5 rounds than Paulo Costa. Another big thing, too, I think this fight is going to come down to who can push the other fighter back, as both Costa and Sean Strickland do their best work when they are the aggressor moving forward. And moving on, using that to segue into what Paulo Costa needs to do. Paulo Costa needs to jab with Sean Strickland. He can't allow Sean Strickland to control the fight with his jab and get comfortable and just build momentum. He has to always, when Sean Strickland throws his jab and retracts it, he needs to come back with 3 or 4 strikes to make Sean Strickland have to back up and think about more things. And also with that, I believe he needs to mix it up by using kicks to the legs, body, and head. As Sean Strickland has recently gotten better at checking leg kicks. That's something that did used to give him a hard time in the past. And also, he needs to look for high kicks, as sometimes with the way Sean Strickland blocks, he can be susceptible to high kicks. And in mixing in the kicks, Sean Strickland has elite boxing defense, but mixing in the kicks, it could throw off some of that defense. Also, he needs to mix in takedowns. Paulo Costa has a very underrated ground game that he doesn't show very often in his fights, but would be a great tool in this one just to catch Sean Strickland off guard. And also, I think that it could be a long shot, but he could look for spinning heel kick, as Sean Strickland was caught with a similar kick and KO'd by Zaleski dos Santos when he used to fight at 170. And Paulo Costa did land a virtually identical kick against Robert Whittaker. And that could just be something for Costa to think about in this fight. I think that could work in this one. But with that being said, tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Who do you guys rooting for? How you think they're going to win? And what's your overall perception of the fights this weekend? Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you guys in the next video.